President Biden is meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office. Let's listen in.
Get hurt. Wait till everyone's in. Well, Mr. President, it's good to have you back. I'm delighted you're able to make the trip to be here, and it's an honor to be by your side in the united defense against what is a brutal, brutal war being waged by Putin. 300 days, hard to believe, 300 days been going through this, and Putin has waged a brutal assault on the Ukraine's right to exist as a nation, and the attack on innocent Ukrainian people for no reason other than intimidate. And he's escalated his assault on civilians after hitting schools, orphanages, hospitals, landmarks. And he's trying to use winter as a weapon. And but the Ukrainian people continue to inspire the world. I mean that sincerely. Not just inspire us, but inspire the world with their courage and how they have chose the resilience and resolve for their future. And the American people have stood proudly with them, Democrats and Republicans, together with our allies in Europe and Japan and other places, to make sure you have the financial, humanitarian, and security assistance that is needed. We're going to talk about that today. And we're going to continue to strengthen Ukraine's ability to defend itself, particularly air defense, and that's why we're going to be providing Ukraine with Patriot missile battery and training your forces to be able to accurately use it. Together with our partners, we're also going to continue to impose costs on the Kremlin, and we'll support Ukraine pursuing a just peace. President Zelensky, the United States stands with the brave people of Ukraine. We stand with you. You've been a great leader. And by the way, we have a famous thing that occurs once a year. We pick the Man of the Year in Time magazine. You are the Man of the Year in the United States of America. And so welcome. We have a lot to talk about, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Great honor for me to be here. Dear journalists, I thank you so much for the invitation. I really wanted to come earlier. Mr. President knows about it, but I couldn't do it because the situation was so difficult. And now, if I'm calm, I mean that we control the situation, and because of support. And first of all, because of your support, and I understand that we have very important topics, and we'll discuss them, everything, so many challenges in Ukraine, in Europe, in the world, and from energy to the situation on battlefield. But first of all, all my appreciations from my heart, from the heart of Ukrainians, all Ukrainians, from our nation, strong nations, all the appreciation to you, first of all, Mr. President, for your big support and leadership. Of course, Europe, many countries helped us and are helping now, because the war is not over. It's a bit, but anyway, but that is your leadership. Thank you, first of all. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Of course, thanks my partisan support, thanks Congress, and thanks from our just ordinary people to your ordinary people, Americans. I really appreciate. I think it's very difficult to understand what does it mean when we say appreciate, but you really have to feel it, and thank you so much. Great honor to be here. And yesterday I was on Donbass in Bakhmut. That is the place on the east of our country. You know all the details. We had so many phone calls and spoke detailedly about it. And I want to give you something. One guy, he's really real hero, real captain, and he asked me to pass his award. And he asked me to pass his award to President Biden. You will understand, he is the captain of HIMARS battery, Yes, he's very brave, and he said, give it to very brave president. And I want to give you, that is the cross for military merit. That is one.
Oh, God love you.
Yes, that is from him, and I have the list. He wrote the list. Yes, I didn't read, Mr. President. I can't read. It's not it's in Ukrainian language, but here the translation. It's from
Thank
him.
you. And his name is, I have his name, I could
Yes,
contact him?
yes, yes.
Pablo.
Pavlo,
Pablo.
Pavlo, так.
Well, undeserved, but much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He said that many his brothers, this system saved. So thank you very much.
Well, we have a tradition here, and I will give it to him. My son, who fought in Iraq, they have what they call a command coin. You've seen those coins we have in the battlefield. I will make sure that he gets one of those.
Right, give me, I will give.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. What a great honor.
Thank
Great
you.
honor. Well, thank you, press. Appreciate it.
All right, President Biden there welcoming in President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine. We saw, of course, President Biden continue the commitment of the United States to support Ukraine in its fight against this Russian invasion that's gone now more than 300 days. And from President Zelensky, bringing, as he said, his appreciation, all my appreciation and all the appreciation of the people of Ukraine, and then passing on from a captain that he was visiting with yesterday, this cross for military merit. Let's bring back in now CNN's chief White House correspondent, Phil Mattingly, who was there in the room, CNN senior international correspondent Will Ripley in Kyiv, former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine Steve Pfeiffer, and retired Major Mike Lyons. Phil, to you, the president, as he received that, said that he would send the command coin back to that captain, but also the quite obvious and genuine appreciation from the president of this cross that he received from the president. What did you see there in the room?
Yeah, it was not expected. I can tell you that in terms of bringing folks as we walked out of the Oval Office. And I think it was absolutely, as you heard from the president, as he said, undeserved but very appreciated. And I think that's also a very personal touch to a very real tragedy that President Zelensky is dealing with on a day-to-day basis in his country. And President Zelensky alluded to the fact that, look, they have a relationship between the two of them. They speak on the phone constantly. They have video conferences fairly regularly, but this is their first face-to-face meeting since the invasion, and adding that personal element to what are expected to be very intensive discussions over the course of the next 2 hours, I think is a level of understanding of, I think, personally how President Biden operates and the kind of the depth in which he approaches issues and moments like this, but also a recognition of the necessity of displaying this to the American public as well. So much of this trip is the obvious symbolism, the obvious parallels perhaps to the Churchill speech to Congress in the few days after Pearl Harbor, but also it underscores the moment that Ukraine is in a war that is very much at a stalemate moment right now, where more assistance will be needed, more commitment will be needed, at the same time that the Western coalition that has stood steadfastly behind them is without question dealing with their own individual domestic issues. There's a very real concern about some level of exhaustion on the side of the coalition's part. And so making sure that the actual realities on the ground and what he can bring to help demonstrate that, I think was critical, given not just what's going to happen over the course of the next several hours, which will be incredibly important, but also what's going to happen over the next several months.